You probably already heard of the recent controversy around Firefox and its parent company Mozilla, whereas they released a new data privacy update that states that they can now use your data to keep them operational no matter what. Many articles, blog posts and YouTubers shared their concerns about this, and even suggest to move away from Firefox altogether. But given that Mozilla already revised their previous statements, is that really necessary? Can you still trust them, or was all of this just a slight misunderstanding? In today's video, we're going over the things that started this controversy, the aftermath of the backlash, and what I think of them personally, since this isn't the first time that something like this happened. Let's talk about it. This is what it all started with. A blog post regarding new terms of use, as well as a new privacy notice. And this is what they added. You give Mozilla the rights necessary to operate Firefox. This includes processing your data, as we describe in the Firefox privacy notice. It also includes a non-exclusive royalty-free worldwide license for the purpose of doing as you request with the content you put into Firefox. This does not give Mozilla any ownership in that content. This almost sounds like that Mozilla is not just collecting your user data, but can even sell it if it's required to keep Firefox operational. They did clarify later on that this is not what they meant, but even if they didn't, they can always update the terms of service without your explicit permission, since if you want to use Firefox, then you implicitly agree to them anyway. Yeah, not exactly the best way to put it. So yeah, they updated the terms to make it much clearer that they don't own your content. They only process the data that is actually required for using their browser, for example like passing the data to a search provider and similar. However, they also removed explicit mentions of not selling user data to advertisers. So are they or are they not? There's currently just a lot of confusion going on, and it also doesn't help that Google, one of the main income sources for Firefox, might need to stop their payments altogether. So we have some vague statements, potential problems that Firefox is generating enough revenue, as well as the trust into Mozilla in general, because like I mentioned earlier, this isn't the first time that something like this happened. Just last year in July, they added a new on by default feature that was meant to obscure your identity to advertisers a bit more. However, not only did this feature require the other party to accept it, they also worded it like this: allow websites to perform privacy reserving ad measurements. Now that this poor wording is happening again, many of course ask themselves the question: are these really just mistakes, or is there an actual intention behind it? How can it happen that a company that advertises its open source web browser to be privacy focused keeps making these mistakes? And I agree. Firefox appeal almost solely comes from the fact that it isn't built on Chromium, which is mainly maintained by Google, and its privacy-oriented focus. It doesn't always have the best compatibility with websites, doesn't support some features that some users might want to use, and is sometimes even slower than other browsers. Maybe intentional, maybe not, but that's just how it is. I still think that many overreacted though. First of all, if you are concerned about privacy, then you shouldn't be using big search engines like Google or Bing in the first place. Those are the biggest data collectors by far. Second of all, are the alternatives really better? I think you know the answer to the big ones, but what about Brave, LibreWolf or Vivaldi? Well, at the end of the day, you have to trust them, but also take some action yourself. Most web browsers are not designed to focus entirely on profits or privacy, but rather strike some sort of middle ground that is acceptable to the average user or what a certain target group expects. Privacy-oriented browsers that really advertise themselves as such, not just by being more private than others, but actually private, often don't have the best user experience because so many features are just deactivated. Good for privacy, bad for the overall experience. The question for most browsers then is of course where to set that line. Chrome collects more data than Firefox and also enables much more features out of the box than other browsers. Brave comes with an ad blocker, strikes a good balance for privacy-related topics, but does collect some own data for reward programs and advertise their services to you. So every browser has some quirks if you don't manually intervene. I personally think that Mozilla just generally made an error again, but it could have also been a deliberate move just as well. One thing that we still need to consider, however, is that their selling point for Firefox is still that it is more privacy focused than Chrome and that they maintain their own engine. Firefox is open source and the Mozilla Foundation a non-profit. Sure, the corporation is not, but at the end of the day, if they lose their user base entirely because of bad marketing, it's certainly not in their interest in either way. Like, I'm gonna be honest, I have been thinking about switching my daily browser from Firefox back to Brave. But not because of the recent controversies, but rather because I already use it for my web apps, so having two browsers is kind of redundant. Especially when opening links in those apps opens Brave anyway. In terms of privacy, I think that nothing really changed yet. Mozilla and Firefox are trying to find solutions to keep everyone happy, both advertisers and its users that share privacy concerns. However, their poor wording, which they keep repeating, makes it really challenging to figure out what they want and provide. Like I said before, you need to take some actions yourself, because being online almost always leaves a mark. It is almost impossible nowadays to stay completely anonymous, and it's not just a browser that prevents that. It's what you enter into it. Do you have online accounts? Probably. Do they share the same username? Likely. So despite which browser you use, you're already trackable in some way. Privacy settings in the browser of your choice just help to minimize the reach of communication, but not to completely get rid of it. The outrage for Firefox and Mozilla has definitely gotten out of hand. However, they do definitely share some blame here. But in the end, it's up to you to decide what you want to use. My trust into Firefox has not really been impacted by this, since there are ways on how you can check if your browser still follows the privacy measures that you expect from them. And Firefox also still has many awesome features, like the pop-out window for videos, the inbuilt screenshot tool, PDF editing support, and the customizable top bar. Like, if I'm switching from Firefox, it's not because of this issue, but rather because I just got fed up with using two browsers. Kind of a small thing really, but that's it. But enough from me. What do you think were Mozilla's actual intents when they updated their terms of service? Do you think that they want to sell your data to advertisers or for training AI models? Or was all of this just an honest mistake? Please let us know in the comments below. Before I end this video, I quickly want to mention that if you want to support the channel and make even better videos, then please feel free to check out our membership program as well as our online shop, where each sale helps to support various open source projects. If you've liked this video, then please make sure to show it with a like, and also don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss out on any future Linux and open source videos. Thank you so much for watching, and all that's left to say now is good morning, good afternoon or good evening, wherever you are. I'll see you around.